Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome once again, my friends, to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, an amateur Canadian role player, and welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent digital-only radio station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talk and music shows throughout the day. All we do is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I want you to be part of the conversation, so find me on the Twitter, on the Rizzle, on the Cameo at Colt S. Taylor, and of course, subscribe to the podcast version of this show at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor, which you can hear shows posted usually Sundays after the rebroadcast, whatnot. Sometimes these shows are a little bit longer than the regular shows, as I occasionally add extra content into the podcast for your enjoyment. And of course, bookmark ColtSebastianTaylor.com. All right, my friends, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. First up this week, some sad news, which you probably have heard. The great Ray Liotta passed away this week at the age of 67, apparently passing away in his sleep in the Dominican Republic while shooting the film Dangerous Waters. He was only 67, and a variety of tributes have poured in talking about Ray Liotta. Let's see here. Martin Scorsese released a statement saying, "I'm absolutely shocked and devastated by the sudden, unexpected death of Ray Liotta. He was so uniquely gifted, so adventurous, so courageous as an actor, playing Henry Hill from Goodfellas with a tall order because the character had so many different facets, so many complicated layers, and Ray was in almost every scene of a long, tough shoot. He absolutely amazed me. I will always be proud of the work we did together. My heart goes out to his loved ones, and it aches for his loss way too early." Let's see here. Robert De Niro said, "I'm very sad about the passing of Ray. Ray's passing. He is way too young to have left us. May he rest in peace." Many Hollywood stars released statements, including Seth Rogen, calling him a true legend of immense skill and grace. Kevin Costner, who Ray Liotta was in with in Field of Dreams, said, "Devastated to hear the news of Ray Liotta's passing. While he leaves an incredible legacy, he'll always be Shoeless Joe Jackson in my heart. What happened at that moment in the film was real. God gave us that stunt. Now God has Ray." The Muppets actually also released a statement saying, "We will never forget the great times we had working with our friend Ray Liotta on Muppets from Space and Muppets Most Wanted. Tough guy on screen. Ray was one of the sweetest, funniest souls we've ever known. Rest in peace." Elizabeth Banks, who is directing him in one of his last upcoming movies, Cocaine Bear, which is about a black bear in Georgia eating a bag of cocaine and then going on a murderous rage. So I actually wanted to see that one. J-Lo also released a long statement. She was with him in Shades of Blue. Adam Sandler posted, "Tremendous actor, sweetheart of a dad, such a great funny man to know. Prayers are with the whole family." Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad, I believe. I think, yeah. "Although it has been years since we worked together, each time we crossed each other's paths, you're always sincere, kind, gracious, and a loving gentleman. You will sorely be missed, Ray Liotta. Fly with the angels, you insanely talented human being. You touched my life." A few more here, just to say, Eggard White says, "Too sad to conceive that Ray Liotta has passed. If he'd only made Goodfellas, that would be a credit to retire on, by such an incredible in Copland, Narc, Marriage Story, and much more, especially his searing debut in Something Wild. His entrance, they posted a scene from that movie. Taron Egerton posted about him. He was in this year's Blackbird, which was a streaming series. Viola Davis posted about him. And, it is certainly sad. Great actor. A lot of credits. Some movies I recommend you watching, because they were pretty good. Field of Dreams, Goodfellas, Karina with Whoopi Goldberg. He also was in Operation Dumbo Drop that I liked. Copland, Blow, Wild Hogs, Smoking Aces. And then most recently, he was in The Many Saints of Newark, Goodfellas. Tony Soprano prequel. And then, like I said, he's in Cocaine Bear, and then he's in a Charlie Day movie. Charlie Day from Always Sunny in Philadelphia is directing something untitled at this time, but that and Cocaine Bear, one of his last movies. Sad, very sad to hear the passing of Ray Liotta. Looks like he just passed away in his sleep, 67, entirely too young. But do yourself a favor this Memorial Day weekend, my friends, and rent yourself a good Ray Liotta movie. I think you will not be disappointed. Next up, we go to the town where I grew up. Doesn't usually make the news, but this one made regional news and actually some national news as well. But there was a explosion in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, on Thursday night. Blew up at least 2 houses, damaged 10 others. At the time that I'm looking at the news reports here, I don't know if this has been updated, but at least 5 people have been killed and 2 remain in the hospital. Looked at the pictures and some videos from just after it happened. It looked like a bomb went off in there, just shattering 2 homes, damaging 8 others. There was a small fire. Big explosion in Pottstown. I used to live, I would say, probably about 5 to 8 blocks from that location. So if I was still there, I definitely would have heard it. It was a big boom that the entire town heard of. Displaced about 2 dozen people. The Pottstown School District closed today so they could manage what was going on. Had their schools open for anyone who was displaced. It's also the end of the school year, so just best to... Also happened near a school, so they thought, you know what? Let's just call it for the day. Call it a day, not have school today. Actually, I will give a shout-out to an old teacher of mine, John Armato, Mr. Armato himself. He was working the scene. I believe he's on the school board. Just a real tribute to Pottstown. He works hard every day for that town. And, hey, I'm still impressed after all these years. I actually saw him in the background of a few press conferences. So he is working with the school district, making sure everyone gets what they need to get. So keep up the good work there, Mr. Amato. Used to be the athletic director for Pottstown, and just, they just couldn't get rid of him. He stuck around. But, it was, you don't usually see houses blow up in Pottstown like that. It seems like they're leaning towards a gas leak that leak. Then there was a spark and gas had built up in the house and kabloom. No word yet on who has died in this explosion or their ages. They're keeping hush-hush on that. So I feel like, unfortunately, that means there is going to be probably a family there that is no longer with us. So we'll see what happens. I may provide an update next week. But, big explosion in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, which is about, I would say, an hour northwest of Philadelphia. It's about a half an hour from where I am now from my secret underground bunker. But made national and regional news. Home blowing up like that is very unusual, but probably, more than likely, a gas leak. Going from the East Coast to now the West Coast, the Golden Gate Bridge opened this week in 1937, May 27th, 1937, to be exact. Spanning a large waterway there, originally served by a ferry, Took them just over 4 years to build at a cost of $35 million. It's about $500 million today. It was completed ahead of schedule and under $1 million under budget, which basically saved $25 million today. Construction began January 5th, 1933, and the bridge opened on May 27th, 1937. The Golden Gate Bridge was built by McClintock Marshall Construction Company, a subsidiary of Bethlehem Steel, which is in this area where I am right now. In fact, Pottstown used to be a steel town before the steel mill shut down in the 60s and 70s, I guess. Sent some of that steel to the Golden Gate Bridge to be built. So some of the steel used in that bridge was made in Pottstown. In fact, when it celebrated its, I want to say the 40th or 50th year anniversary of its opening, they shut down the bridge for the day. The Pottstown Senior High School Marching Band was invited to come out and march onto the bridge and play music on there. Apparently, though, a lot of people rushed the bridge and they kind of got stuck there for a few hours. And they had like the most people ever on that bridge at one time. They're like, oh, is this designed for that? But they were fine, obviously. Interesting though, just a little bit of little trivia here with the Golden Gate Bridge, including the connection to Pottstown, is that it was had some very unique and innovative use of safety procedures. They put safety nets underneath the bridge. So, obviously they're working above the water. People would fall off and whatnot. But they had a safety net, which they had not done before. Which you're like, why did they do that? But they had a safety net that would catch people who fell off. In fact, 19 people were saved by these nets during the course of the construction. They formed the Halfway to Hell Club because they were saved and did not die. So there was a very special brotherhood of folks that had fallen off the bridge but were caught by the net. However, in 1937, a piece of scaffolding with 12 men did fall with the scaffolding that broke through the net and fell 200 feet into the water. Only 2 survived of the 12. But anyways, it opened up this week. It is always painted red. Tourist attraction. Also a lot of, unfortunate suicides there as well. But they always have someone sort of on duty to monitor the bridge. If someone seems like they're being a little, hanging out too close to the railing, they can send out mental health counselors to sort of talk them down and whatnot. Yes. Just a bit here, bit of trivia. I found the part here what I wanted to say. As part of the 50th anniversary celebration, the Golden Gate Bridge District again closed the bridge to automobile traffic, allowing pedestrians to cross it on May 24th. Sunday morning celebrations attracted up to 1 million people, and ineffective crowd control meant the bridge was congested with roughly 300,000 people, causing the center span of the bridge to flatten out under the weight of the bridge. So the bridge is kind of it's a suspension bridge. So the bridge is a little curvy at the top because it's suspended. There's so many people on there, it flattened out. Although the bridge was designed to flex in that way in heavy loads, it was estimated not to exceed 40% of the yielding stress of the suspension cables. Bridge officials stated that the uncontrolled pedestrian access was not being considered as part of the 75th anniversary on May 27, 2012, because of additional law enforcement costs since 9/11. So during the 75th anniversary in 2012, they did not close the bridge down, letting people walk across it. As, not a terrible idea. Not a terrible idea. But anyways, some trivia there for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Golden Gate Bridge opened this week in 1937. Folks, it is Memorial Day weekend, and I'll tell you what, we've got the tunes for you here because my pal DC is working this weekend. He never stops, can't stop, won't stop. DC Live in Effect is his shows here every week. On Friday nights, it's DC Live in Effect. Mixing it up, you don't want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos, kicking the beats from South Florida every week. Then Saturday, tonight, is DC House Party Saturdays. He's bringing his freestyling DJ to the max. House Party Saturdays gives you all the Miami vibe without actually having to go there. From the top clubs to the bars, DC will bring the party to you Saturdays at 10. And then once again on Sundays at 10 p.m., it's DC Live in Effect again. So every week, DC Live in Effect. Fridays at 9. DC House Party Saturdays. Saturdays at 10. And then DC Live in Effect again on Sundays at 10 p.m. Right here, my friends, only on AWSM Radio. Moving along, friends, to more terrible news. This is kind of not been a great news week. To Texas, where earlier this week, a gunman stormed an elementary school and 21 people, including 19 children, lost their lives in gun violence. Now, they are still investigating things, so not all the details are clear right now, and details might change by the time next week comes around. But it kind of seems like they dropped the ball a bit on this, the police down there. Last I heard, the gunman was outside the school for over 10 minutes shooting before he went inside. And then it took police an hour to get the tactical team together to go and get him, of which during the time he killed all of those people. Now, it also seems like that the school back door was unlocked, which is a glaring failure on their part. But then there are videos coming out of police holding parents back as they wait for tactical teams and parents being arrested trying to go in and get their children. I'm not going to comment much on, I would say, gun control and Second Amendment stuff. Everyone has their own opinions, and not here to tell you that those opinions are wrong, although I do that sometimes. What is irritating to me, and I will dust off my soapbox right here, is that some folks out there, particularly the Ted Cruzes of the world, and the Ron Johnsons, and the Lindsey Grahams, and the Rand Pauls, are indignant that people would even suggest gun control. This is not the time to talk politics. Not the time. And basically, they're trying to avoid the subject. They're trying to stall things out, and people will eventually forget. I mean, Buffalo, remember the guy who went to Buffalo and killed all of the African-American folks in a grocery store? That was less than 3 weeks ago. No, yeah, that was this month. And that place had an armed security guard at the front door, too. He died, too. So the solution being thrown out there is that we should have armed police at every school. Armed police at every school to stop them. There should be one entrance in and one entrance out. I assume there would still be other entrances because that's a fire hazard. I think that's how that works, right? That seems like that's a bit of a fire hazard. A lot of schools today only have one way in and one way out for their students. That's the way that works for that very reason. But there's still other fire doors there. And having cops at every single school. You know what? They tried that at Parker High School where another mass shooting. And you know what they found? Lots of kids were getting into fights and arrested, and a lot of people started getting a bit of a heavier police presence. Really didn't help anything. It just caused more behavioral problems, and people kind of confronted police and whatnot. So it actually didn't really help all that much. Yes, they didn't have another shooting there, but at Parker High School, they had a security person there. They had a sheriff's deputy there who ran away. The Supreme Court ruled in 2005 that police do not have a duty to actually protect you. It's not their constitutional duty to do that. They should try real hard, but they're not automatically obligated to do that. There was a court case. We'll get the details. So I just don't think that these are serious solutions. They can be part of a solution. Sure, why not? I don't think they're the only, the end-all, say-all of that solution. It just isn't, okay? That town spends 40% of their budget on their police. Took them an hour to get into the classroom and whatnot. So, yeah, this could be a tremendous failure on this end. It seems like they're doing a lot of CYA, of a lot of this and that. It was all very confusing. I feel like the police department there is going to be investigated quite a bit. I feel like there's a failure on that end. And another solution that's being thrown around that I think is very, very interesting. A lot of Republicans want to arm teachers, give teachers guns, and have them defend their classrooms and whatnot. So get them paid armed. We have plenty of volunteers to train armed teachers. We have a lot of ex-soldiers who would hang out front with guns to protect schools. Do you not think something is kind of wrong with society when you're having ex-soldiers hang out in front of schools with their guns to protect schools during a school year? They do that in some countries, but that's war-torn places on other continents. Do you really think that's a thing? That's a good idea? Putting people out front with giving teachers guns? Certainly would make parent-teacher conferences probably a little more polite. But then parents feel like they should be armed too. Here's the thing, folks. I won't be on this too much longer. I'm just blown away by the solutions here. I'll make a few final points. First and foremost, Scotland and Australia had a mass shooting. They had a mass shooting. And after that mass shooting, they passed comprehensive gun laws. And guess what? They've not had mass shootings since then. New Zealand had a mass shooting. Passed comprehensive gun laws. Now they don't have mass shootings. Can people just go around and own as many guns as possible now? No, they can't. But there aren't more mass shootings. So, that's if you want a closet full of guns and think maybe sacrificing a dozen or two children every 2 or 3 years is worth that, well, then that's your opinion. You certainly have a right to it. That's probably not the best opinion. Does not make for a clever bumper sticker, that's for sure. Gun laws should probably be looked at, I would say. There was an assault weapon ban for about 10 years, and it expired in 2005. And boy, howdy, you had a lot more shootings using assault weapons after that. Quite a bit. But anyways, folks, listen, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a prediction right now. I think 1 or 2 more police taking an hour to get in there, and failures. If this is a failure, and kind of let's lean towards it. A few more of those. We're going to have armed teachers, armed janitorial staff, armed parents, and the next time, I would say, I'm going to give it 2 years. 2 years. Kids going to throw a firecracker into a bathroom. School's going to be on lockdown. Tweets are going to go out. And then you're going to have police, janitors, teachers, and parents all shooting at each other on school grounds, trying to save their children, thinking that the other people are gunmen. You basically have a Wild West saloon shootout at every school each time there's a lockdown. So, enjoy that. I'm glad I got out of education. But, anyways, I'll be following that. I don't know. Terrible news. I really don't think they did a very good job responding down there. Not at all. And I think there'll be a lot to talk about in the coming weeks and months about this incident. Hopefully, some changes will come forward. But you know what? After Sandy Hook, and the Los Angeles shootout, and the Sony Major Parker, or whatever that place in Florida, and the nightclub shootout, I won't hold my breath. I just don't think things will change, unfortunately. So, all right, let me find a fun story. It's time. Let's turn this show around. All right, so happy news. Move over to Toby Keith, not the singer. The dog, because Pebbles, the toy fox terrier, has been named the world's oldest dog at 22. Toby Keith was a Chihuahua that sent internet ablaze as the world's oldest dog, but now there's a new pup. It's an old pup. That pup, his name is Pebbles, 22 years old. The 4-pound toy fox terrier is 22 years and 59 days old, according to the Guinness World Book of Records. Their Pebbles owners, Bobby and Julie Gregory of Greenville County, South Kakalaki, decided to apply for the title after seeing Toby Keith on the news and knew Pebbles was older. Bobby was sitting on the couch, and friends and family started texting, calling about the story that saw about 21-year-old doggy in the record, Julie told Guinness Book World Records. In 2000, the family was looking for a larger breed dog to adopt when they found Pebbles. She was jumping and barking so much that Bobby had no other choice but to pick her up and check her out. It was instant love the two met, she told them. This old pups got an official Guinness World Book Record certificate. Apparently, Pebbles enjoys country music while sleeping and the fan during warm weather. Let's see here. Pebble has been the queen of the home since she came in. She can get a little cranky to be woken up, but she does love attention, much like all senior citizens and whatnot. So congratulations, Pebbles, world's oldest dog at 22. That's 2 decades. Golly, the butts that dog has sniffed and the poop it has pooped. Quite a sight. Quite a sight. Now, what never gets old, my friends, is your drive home, your commute home. What? That you probably say to yourself, what? That's old. That's annoying. No, my friends, not when you're listening to the Rock Sessions. That is our drive time show here we have here on AWSM Radio for your evening commute home, featuring the hottest music on the charts and some other surprises in between, hosted by my good friend Rox. She will make it rock style, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and yes, even Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., right here, my friends, only on AWSM Radio. Check it out. Your drive will go seemingly much quicker. Moving along to India, the Indian government has transferred a bureaucratic couple to the opposite ends of the country over social media outrage, where they apparently forced a stadium to close early in the capital so they could walk their dog around the track by themselves, kicking out athletes who were practicing. So according to India's Home Ministry, they transferred Sanjeev Kirnwar, a top bureaucrat in Delhi City state government, to Ladakh and in the Indian administrated Kashmir, that's where that is, and his wife, Rinku Duga, a secretary in the Delhi government, was sent to Arunachal Pradesh. It's a place in the distant northeast, according to an official order. So what does that mean? Like, how far is that? Well, they're located on the eastern and western ends of the Himalayan mountain range. They are 2,000 miles apart. It would take 65 hours to drive from point A to point B. These sort of transfers of bureaucrats following allegations of misconduct aren't very uncommon and are known as punishment postings. So, apparently, this was triggered a report in the Indian Express saying that the athletes and coaches at the Tajraj Stadium in the Indian capital, I am butchering these names, built for the 2010 Commonwealth Games, had to be cleared out by early evening so they could walk their dog. They deny any wrongdoing, saying they would never kick out athletes, but there was footage of people kicking out people out of the stadium, and then they would walk around the track. So according to a statement, he said, "I would never ask an athlete to leave a stadium that belongs to them. Even if I visit, I go after the stadium is supposed to be closed." Well, that apparently was not good enough. And, yeah. So the government spent actually several $1 billion on each of these facilities during the 2010 Commonwealth Games, which is the biggest sporting event India has ever hosted. The Games also made headlines for allegations of corruption against sports ministry officials pocketing a little bit of that money. Most of the venues are still in operation. Usually after these big games, a lot of them get shut down, but they still use most of these. Some are used for political rallies or concerts, and the government spends a large amount of money to keep them open. According to a member of the government opposition party, what a bizarre misuse of power where athletes are forced to wrap up their training early because a government official wants to walk his dog. Pathetic. But in another tweet, a lot of people were not so concerned about this couple, but where the dog would go. Both locations apparently are known for their renowned beauty and offer many dog walking opportunities. According to one tweet, on the brighter side, wherever the dog goes, it'll have plenty of space to move and walk around without having to shut down the stadium. So the dog probably got the better end of the deal because they'll probably be traveling between locations between the couple. So it's not Pebbles, but I'm sure the dog will be well taken care of. We now move on to sports, to the NBA, where they are apparently looking to create some expansion teams, add some teams to the league. They are looking at Seattle and Las Vegas. Seattle used to have a basketball team, the Supersonics, before they moved to Oklahoma City in 2008. This could happen in 2024, following the expiration of NBA's TV deal. There is no official comment on that, but that is the rumor flying around right now. Las Vegas has never had a NBA team. They just got an NFL team, but they may also get an NBA team. The Seattle Supersonics were a favorite amongst league's fans, according to this news article. I do not follow basketball, so I have no idea. I thought there's still a basketball team in Seattle. That's how much I don't follow it. But this is big news. The NBA, it won the NBA championship in 1979, the Western Conference titles in 78, 79, and 1996, and 6 divisional titles. This is the old Seattle Supersonics. In 79, 94, 96, 97, 98, and also 2005. So the Seattle Supersonics might be coming back after what is that? A 16 and 18? No. Yes, a 16-year absence, may be returning to Seattle in 2024. So hopefully, I hope they do. I mean, I'm sure there's still a lot of old Supersonic fans there. They should get their basketball team back. Speaking of the NBA, my friends, Wednesday nights is your place to be for NBA news and whatnot. It's To the Rack with Mac. It is our show here on AWSM Radio that covers all things NBA. To the Rack with Mac is your spot to go for all things basketball. You'll join NBA expert Mac Daddy as he brings you a full hour of high-flying hoops expertise for all things NBA. Tune in Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. to The Rack with Mac. And then after that, at 10 p.m., it's What's Going On. It is our Fox Sports affiliate show, providing listeners with over 150 combined years of sports knowledge, hosted by Nate Brown and his crew. They have been a staple of Western New York sports, have 150 combined years of sports knowledge, and for the last 2 decades, they've been killing it out there, and now they're going national, and we've got their show here, Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on AWSM Radio. So, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m., To the Rack with Mac, 10 p.m., What's Going On, your sports destination, Wednesdays here at AWSM Radio. Next, friends, some happy news. Television legend Norm Abram, master carpenter for This Old House, is retiring after 43 years, according to an announcement made last week. Abram is known by many people in New England. I actually know who he was. I used to watch this show with my father all the time. Also across the country as a pioneering force in home improvement entertainment. PBS is doing a 1-hour show, The House That Norm Built. They'll be airing on October 3rd at 9 p.m. In the evening, you'll be looking at the highlights of his career and his rare archival footage and various news interviews. He appeared in over 1,000 episodes of This Old House, worked on more than 50 home renovation projects, and hosted close to 300 episodes of the New Yankee Workshop. Well known for his plaid shirt, humility, and dedication to his craft. His motto of measure twice and cut once was a familiar slogan to anyone who knows Norm. According to a statement, it'll be hard for anyone to measure up to Norm. We honored to have him as part of our family. Vice President of This Old House, Dan Stewart, said, he went on to say, Norm is a living legend that helped create home improvement television genre. Entire networks are now in existence because of his trusted expertise to generations of homeowners that he provided. According to This Old House, his career began in Massachusetts. Christmas Eve 1958, Abrams began working with his father, a Boston carpenter, to install hardwood floors the old-fashioned way, with cut nails and a skill saw turned upside down on a milk crate. Turned upside down the milk crate. There we are. Then in 1978, Russell Morash commissioned Abraham to build a barn. After seeing his work, he invited him to join a project in Dorchester to help them restore a house, and decided to film it, calling it This Old House, and it was a success when it premiered in 1979. Since then, This Old House has been nominated 117 times for Emmys, winning 20. This Old House will receive a Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Academy of Television Arts and Science at the 49th Daytime Emmy Awards on June 18th. And then finally, last year, Roku, the streaming company, acquired This Old House and expanded to a 20 million consumers each month from content on past TV shows, podcasts, and a free website as well. So, very successful brand. Norm, used to watch him and Bob Vila with my father. My dad's quite the woodworking feller himself. Has made a few things for me. He should really start an Etsy store, Father. Cheshire Sebastian Taylor. You should really start an Etsy store. I'm just saying. But anyways, Norm Abram retiring after 43 years from This Old House and the New Yankee Workshop. Well deserved. Something tells me he'll still be doing some projects even in retirement. And that, my friends, will wrap up this week's Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, here on AWSM Radio. Hope you enjoyed today's show. I know I always enjoy coming to you week in and week out. Just as a programming note, I will be obviously back here next week, but for probably the rest of June, I will be on vacation in jolly old Ireland. I believe that's what it's called, jolly old Ireland. Happy-go-lucky. I'll be in Ireland, so I will not have my state-of-the-art recording facilities here. So I will be taking a bit of a break. I certainly deserve it, I think, whatnot. I may pop in with a show if I work things right, but I think next week you should assume I will be unavailable for most of June, but we'll be back in July, my friends. So don't worry too terribly much. But just as a reminder, you can find me on the Twitter, on the Rizzle, on the Instagram, at Colt S. Taylor. I'll probably be posting stuff from Ireland while I'm over there. Of course, catch the podcast version of this show at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. And as always, if you haven't already, you're fools, Bookmark ColtSebastianTaylor.com to find out all the adventures I'm on, including my Dungeons & Dragons podcast, which is a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy it if you like that sort of stuff. Until next time, my friends, I'm Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later. Have a good Memorial Day weekend.